The path to the presidency. Democrats poised to sign off on their party's ticket at a dramatically scaled-back national convention in Milwaukee. A moment of great promise. Then, great disappointment. The stop in battleground Wisconsin, now mostly virtual, in a resilient city still prepared to play a pivotal role in a heated election. Right now, a 12 News Commitment 2020 special. DNC in Milwaukee.
We are live from the Wisconsin Center in downtown Milwaukee. It's the anchor site of this year's Democratic National Convention. Good evening. It's not the convention organizers envisioned a year ago or even 6 months ago, but it promises to be a historic week nonetheless, Adrian.
That's right, Joyce. So we're used to seeing conventions inside arenas packed with tens of thousands of people like this, but the pandemic has changed everything. Instead, the convention has been dramatically downsized, moved from Fiserv Forum, and being done almost entirely virtual.
And here's what it looks like inside the Wisconsin Center. A control room is on the third floor, taking in video feeds and speeches from all 50 states and 7 territories. Some will be live, others pre-recorded. And in a second floor conference room, there's a small stage where members of Wisconsin's delegation will speak live in front of a camera. And outside the convention center tonight, fences and barricades surround the building to help the Secret Service and other law enforcement secure the site.
Presidential candidate Joe Biden and his running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, will give their acceptance speeches in Biden's home state of Delaware. All the while, President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence campaign here in the Badger State. The president visited Oshkosh this afternoon. We'll get to that and a lot more coming up in the next 30 minutes. Our political team is standing by, Joyce.
But first, a look at how we got here, Adrian. It has been a whirlwind year and a half since Milwaukee first learned it won the DNC.
Mayor, the Associated Press is reporting that Milwaukee landed the DNC. I mean,
Journal-Sentinel has a story too.
Well, I'm positive that that's not fake news.
It began with such optimism. Mayor Tom Barrett confirming in March of last year that the Democratic National Committee chose Milwaukee over Houston and Miami Beach to host the biggest gathering this city would ever see.
And it's going to be 50,000 people coming here, over $200 million of economic impact. This is a game changer for the state, for the city.
On the seventh day, the Lord said, let there be beer.
Businesses coalesced for the July 2020 windfall. Law enforcement rehearsed security routes, and media planned for the coverage from Fiserv Forum. But then, this past spring, coronavirus slowed the momentum.
I doubt whether the Democratic Convention is going to be able to be held in mid-July, early July. I think it's going to have to move into August.
In April, the DNC postponed the convention to August, hoping to buy time.
We're not going to have our public health head in the sand.
But coronavirus cases continued to climb, and by late June, organizers told delegates to stay home for a mostly virtual convention.
I don't want to create false hope for people. This is going to be a much smaller event.
Moved to the much smaller Wisconsin Center with the promise that Joe Biden would at least accept the nomination here. But then on August 5th, the news that not even that would happen.
But you remove that element, and there is no reason for a convention to exist in Milwaukee. So the city's biggest dreams, this chance to recast itself in the national conversation, it's not going to happen.
Again, the DNC was expected to bring some 50,000 people to Milwaukee and give the area a $200 million economic boost. That now is not happening. Party delegates from across the country have been told not to come, Adrian.
Oh, it could have been, Joyce, but Democratic Party Chairman Tom Perez is here, and I spoke with him exclusively one-on-one this afternoon. As you know, there's really an all-out Republican blitz going on this week in person. Does that concern you that they might sort of steal the spotlight a little bit here?
No, it's a publicity stunt. And, you know, they want, if they want to know what's going on in Wisconsin, they ought to actually watch our convention. All the political stunts in the world cannot hide the chronic failures of Donald Trump that have created chaos, that have us in a virtually empty downtown because we have a pandemic that didn't have to be this bad.
Why couldn't Joe Biden come here in person and not speak to a crowded arena, but instead just show up to Milwaukee to make people kind of feel better about what they lost?
We'd love to make people feel better, and we are going to be trying to do our level best to do just that. But again, when Donald Trump traveled to Tulsa, Oklahoma, he didn't just put all the people who attended that rally in harm's way. A number of members of his security detail, because you have to do advance work, they also ended up testing positive. You had members of his political operation who tested positive. So every time you travel, when you are either the President of the United States or running for President of the United States, there are a lot of people that have to do a lot of advance work.
And DNC Chairman Tom Perez said it many times today. Milwaukee's DNC will now be known as the most unconventional convention in American politics. The overall theme is uniting America, Joyce.
And Adrian, tonight's focus is on what the Democrats call the three crises affecting America: the pandemic, the faltering economy, and racial injustice. The DNC itself began today with a virtual breakfast.
And like almost everything now, it was virtual.
Welcome to Milwaukee. I've been waiting to say that for a year and a half, probably closer to 2.5 years.
And I think that this virtual convention is something where we got lemons, but we have made gallons and buckets of lemonade out of it. So welcome to Milwaukee.
This is going to be a great convention. I've been saying all along that we will nominate Joe Biden as the next president of the United States right here in Wisconsin. And, you know, I've still got my breakfast with me today.
And you see the governor there holding up a breakfast sandwich. This was a virtual breakfast. He says that is an everyday staple.
And 12 News got a behind-the-scenes look at how the convention will run from inside the Wisconsin Center. There's a control center taking in hundreds of video feeds from across the country. On a separate floor, there's a small stage where members of Wisconsin's delegation will speak live.
But for the control room, we really started realizing early on that what normally exists in quite small spaces and kind of small rooms and trucks would not be possible in a pandemic. So we reconceptualized what was going to be happening where and designed a room that allows for physical distancing. Everyone will be in PPE and, you know, brings people who are working remotely and safely from their homes into the control room as well.
It'll look and feel different. I think we're looking to do something that's exciting, to bring some tempo here, to catch people where they are on their couches and to make them excited to tune in every night. So I think with the 2 hours of programming that we'll have, primetime programming each night, you'll see something that's not what you're used to seeing, but that actually might be a little bit more exciting than you're used to seeing as well.
Speeches begin later tonight with Congresswoman Gwen Moore. Tomorrow, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett will call the convention to order, and Milwaukee native and DNC Secretary Jason Ray will direct the roll call vote from the Wisconsin Center as states officially cast votes to nominate Joe Biden for president. On Wednesday, Governor Tony Evers will speak, and Senator Tammy Baldwin will deliver remarks Thursday.
He was a terrific vice president. He knows what it takes to rescue an economy, beat back a pandemic, and lead our country. And he listens. He will tell the truth.
This is an advanced clip of First Lady Michelle Obama's speech tonight. It will be the keynote address. And here's a list of the other major speakers each night. Tonight, it's former First Lady Michelle Obama and Senator Bernie Sanders. On Tuesday, former President Bill Clinton and former Second Lady Dr. Jill Biden. On Wednesday, former President Barack Obama and vice presidential nominee Senator Kamala Harris. And on Thursday, Joe Biden accepts the Democratic presidential nomination and delivers his speech. Now, a Milwaukee teacher will be among the guest speakers at the Democratic National Convention.
And 12 News' Kent Wainscott is covering this part of the story for us live. Kent.
Yeah, her name is Luz Hernandez. She teaches bilingual second and third grade students in an MPS elementary school. She will be one of the guest speakers here, and I spoke with her about what message she wants to send.
I am more than excited to be able to provide my voice to the Democratic National Convention in hopes that Joe Biden will be our next president.
And what message are you hoping to deliver?
Basically, just a very positive message that, you know, a year from now, what I hope to see. And I think that's all I'll divulge.
Now, because this is a virtual convention, the DNC sent her recording material so she could record her presentation in advance. She tells me that it will be brief, but she's told that it will be part of the program, and we will see her Thursday night before Joe Biden's acceptance speech. Joyce.
A special time for her, I'm sure. Thanks very much. Kent Wainscott reporting live.
ABC plans to carry an hour of the convention live each night starting at 9 o'clock, so be sure to keep it right here on WISN. You can also watch a live stream of the event on WISN.com as well as the 12 News Facebook page.
Is the Trump campaign crashing the Democrats' party? Coming up, a live report on President Trump's visit to Wisconsin the same week as the DNC and what Vice President Mike Pence told Kent about the timing of their visits.
And the latest on Kanye West's push to get on the November ballot. And a DNC fact for you. Milwaukee is one of the smallest cities to host the convention. Here's a look at some of the others right there on your screen. We'll be right back.